Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be my 27 weeks pregnancy update. So if you want to see how I've been doing for the past week, which isn't too great, then keep watching. So I hope you are all doing really well to start with. I hope you're feeling a damn sight better than I am at the moment, and I'm sorry if my voice is a little bit croaky or as I'm congested, or I might start coughing throughout filming this video because I am just not well. I am not well. When I saw you last time, I think I was quite like optimistic from a 26-week update. So I was like, oh, I'm not feeling very well, but hopefully it should shift soon. And honestly, it's a week later, it's been over a week now, and I have really struggled with this cough and a cold. It got particularly bad Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I would say I really struggled at night, mainly to the point where I've not really slept very well for the past week or so at all. In fact, that corner right there is where I've been sleeping most of the time because we don't have a spare room. And I feel like when I'm upstairs I cough and sneeze and I'm blowing my nose that loudly that I'm like in danger of waking the whole house up. I've really not enjoyed this past week, and it's made me quite sad because obviously, like, at the time of filming this, it's probably what, a couple of weeks away from Christmas Day now, like just under 2 weeks I think, and I should be a giddy kipper and full of festive spirit and cheer, but I'm just finding it really hard because I'm like on my own throughout the day with Daisy and I can't really rest, and I'm obviously doing things like Vlogmas, which is my job, like doing YouTube and stuff, and I can't just give up because if I was in full-time employment like I was a couple of years ago when I was pregnant with Daisy, then I wouldn't have been able to have like 2 weeks off sick because you can't afford to. Like, my old work didn't have very good sick pay, so it's one of those where you have to kind of go, right, I've just got to get on with stuff. But I found it really difficult. I've been quite tearful, I've been really frustrated, and I just wish that it would leave me alone now. It was mainly all on my chest. Like, I felt like I couldn't breathe properly. So there were a few instances. Friday night was the worst night by far, where I was this close to ringing NHS 111, which is, you're not in the UK, is like a call service that you can ring 24/7 to get advice from medical professionals, and you either get put through to an out of hours GP, or you get given advice on like how to deal with whatever's wrong with you, or you might even get advice to go straight into hospital. It's really useful, and I was honestly so close because I was like panicking. I was coughing that much, and you worry about your tummy contorting. If you've been pregnant before and you've had like a cough and a cold, when you cough you can see your stomach like go, it like contracts, and I honestly thought like, oh no, would my waters go, because I was coughing that violently. Since then things have got a little bit better, but I'm still like, last night I was on the sofa again. I went up to bed with full intentions of, you know, trying to get to sleep there, and within half an hour of being in bed I was coughing, and I just thought, what's the point? I'll come down here and cough and try and just get to sleep down here, and fingers crossed it goes soon, because it's really taken it out of me and it's made me a very sad pregnant lady. So now I've got all the cough and cold stuff out of the way. What about the rest of this week? How have I been feeling? Symptoms, yada. Now, I hope you don't mind me reading this out from my phone, but I read my updates every single week. My favourite apps, by the way, are Pregnancy Plus and then Ovia Pregnancy. I really like those two, so if you're in the lookout for like a new pregnancy app to download, those are my favourites. But I was reading this morning that babies who are born between 27, which is what I am now, and 32 weeks have a good chance of survival. And it's actually 80 to 95% of babies survive when they're born between that time, which is a huge jump from like even when you get to viability. And it just kind of made me feel like a lot better. Like, I wish I'd read that statistic when I was coughing my guts out on like Friday night and thinking, oh my gosh, I hope my waters don't break. Obviously I don't want him to be born prematurely, but it just really helped. And then in terms of his like weight now, he'll be between like 1.5 to 2.5 pounds, which is quite a lot, and I definitely do feel like I'm really starting to grow. I feel like I've still got quite a neat bump, but I feel like it's getting a lot bigger, and it's very round this time round. I've really noticed it's a very round tummy. And what I'm really excited for is that I think it's next week. Let me look at the little calendar thing. I think it's a week today actually. So on the 19th of December we have our Reassurance scan. at our local hospital to see him again, so we may be getting like an estimation of how big he is, which would be interesting because I do feel like he's a big boy, but you never know what's going on in there. I might have like loads of fluid, or it could just be the way that I'm carrying him. I'm really curious. And then that scan is in the morning, and then in the afternoon I also have my midwife appointment, which I think is quite a big one because that's where you start to discuss things like birth and breastfeeding and that sort of stuff. So I'm really excited for that because I just think it's what I need. Like I've missed that. I think with your, you know, second, third, fourth babies, you do obviously get a lot less sort of care, and not like, you know, you're not looked after, because I've been really well looked after, but you get a lot more midwife appointments with your first. And I've had like a big drought, a huge drought since I've last seen someone, and I'm here now like, oh, I really want to talk about my baby, because I think that's the sort of thing that gets you excited. And then I hit 30 weeks, I think it's just after Christmas, so before the end of the year is out, and then it's like that final countdown. Like when we're in 2018, I really need to get my shit together because we've got so much stuff to sort out for him. But we'll leave that for then. We'll leave that for the new year's resolutions and all that. In terms of symptoms, the biggest symptom really this week that I've had is that I noticed the other day in the shower that if you've had babies before, you've breastfed in particular, I keep touching my boobs, but I'm going to talk about them, so don't worry. I used to find that when I was breastfeeding, when my boobs used to fill up with milk, I would notice that the veins in them would get slightly like bulgy, and I'd be able to see them more. And obviously my boobs are much bigger now and fuller, and my nipples look like they've been on like, I don't know, a month holiday to the Caribbean. They are that dark now. Like the rest of me isn't looking so hot, but these girls they're on fire. But I noticed that my boobs were looking really full, and like my nipples felt like slightly, what do I say, like, it sounds gross and TMI, but slightly tacky and damp when I took my bra off. And I was about to get into a shower like before bed because I just really fancied one, it'd been a long day, and like I kind of like poked my boobs and then like squeezed them, and I noticed that I just did that, and there's a man walking past my window, so that's really weird. Anyway, I noticed that I was leaking a tiny little bit of colostrum, which is, I think, the earliest that this has ever happened for me. I've never been a leaky boob kind of girl, but I do, like, once my babies are born, my milk comes in really quickly, and like I've just never really leaked that much during pregnancy. But it was just really funny, and then I told Mark, and Mark was like, oh, and I was like, what's wrong? And he was like, well, that means I'm not allowed to like touch them and stuff. And I was like, well, you can, it's not like I'm gonna breastfeed you, is it? So that was probably way too deep into our relationship, but it did make me laugh, and I'm pretty certain that most women can agree with me there, because breastfeeding and like pregnancy boobs are, you know, they're buoyant, fun little things, aren't they? And then they do get to a point where you're like, no, they're off limits to men, these are for babies only. But it was funny. So that was like the biggest symptom really, and it kind of hit home that, like, you know, if he is born healthy, I might be breastfeeding him, and that's really exciting because I haven't breastfed since I had Bill, my oldest. I expressed for Daisy because she was unable to breastfeed because of a cleft, but it made me like excited and then nervous because I haven't breastfed in such a long time, even though I know how the process works and I'm able to get milk off, and I know that my supply is relatively strong. I just feel a bit like a first time mum again, so that's going to be really exciting, and I really hope I do get that chance to do it again, because I didn't enjoy expressing at all. I found it really hard because then we'd have to like tube feed her at the same time, and then I'd have to go and express again and store milk and defrost milk, and it was all really confusing. So I just would really love to have that last chance, and if we don't manage it for whatever reason, then at least I can say I've tried. But yeah, that was nice. And then the only other thing really is that, like, I feel like I'm getting to know him really well, like his personality and stuff, because initially when I first started to feel him move, and I've seen him in scans and stuff, I thought he was definitely my laziest baby. But he is still my laziest baby, but he's also quite particular. He moves when he moves, he has his schedule. But if I lean over and make his space cramped in any way, he kicks off. Like, he goes mental. And neither of my past pregnancies have been like this, neither of my babies have been that fussed, but he likes me to, for the most part, be lying flat and like give him as much room as possible. Like that's his way, that's what he wants. So it's quite funny now, because like sometimes I just do it on purpose, and if I lean over I can guarantee that I get a wiggle of annoyance out of him, so I know he's okay. But it's making me laugh, and I'm just getting to that point now where I really can't wait to meet him. I also can't even imagine having a third. Like, I've done this before, I've gone through that whole like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever love anyone as much as my first, like I did with Bill. I got really emotional, and then Daisy came along and my heart just expanded and burst with love. And then now I'm back there again, like, oh, I don't know if I can like imagine having a third and what it's going to be like, because I love these two so much. But I know that it's going to be amazing once he's here, but it's just hard to imagine having three. Like, we will be outnumbered. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there because I feel like I've talked a lot in this video, and I will quickly show you my belly and then I will leave it for another week. So I can't actually lift this up because I'm wearing maternity tights, which are so weird. Like, they're still kind of too big for me, but never mind. This dress, if you were wondering, is from Boohoo Maternity and was very cheap, and I love it, so worth checking out if you haven't already. But this is my belly. Let's tighten this up a little bit for week 27, and I feel like I'm growing very swiftly now. Like I said before, it does feel very like basketball-y. It's a very round tummy, and I do feel like he's carrying quite nicely. But yeah, that is me for 27 weeks. So yeah, that is everything, and thank you so much for watching and for being so supportive and lovely, because I've had a right old nightmare week, and sometimes like the comments that when I come on to YouTube and I like try and catch up on things, like all of your comments, whether you like watch Vlogmas or you watch my pregnancy updates and just watch those, like they've been so lovely, and it's really given me a boost when I felt really rubbish. So thank you, and good luck to all of you as well. I hope you're all doing well, and let me know in the comments below if you've got any like Christmas babies due anytime now, because that is so exciting. I always have babies like in the spring, the summer. I've never ever had a baby at this time of year, so you'll have to let me know how you're doing. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.